Imagine this. The first hints of dawn painting the sky as you step out to start your day. But instead of birdsong, a chilling sound cuts through the quiet. Who would fire a gun not once, but 4 times, to end a life brimming with kindness and joy?
It's a horrifying question, and honestly, one that has haunted Tomball, Texas since January 25th, 2019.
Right.
That morning, 29-year-old Elizabeth Barraza, just a vibrant soul preparing for a simple garage sale, was gunned down in her driveway. And she was dressed as Princess Leia.
Princess Leia. Just think about that image for a second. A symbol of hope, rebellion, standing in such stark contrast to the brutal reality of her final moments.
Absolutely.
And what makes this even more unsettling, I think, is that the beginning of this tragedy was captured.
Yeah.
Right on her doorbell camera.
Yeah, the Ring camera.
A normal morning, a woman in costume then. Just utter violence.
That visual element, it adds this layer of chilling intimacy to the case, doesn't it? It's not some abstract crime report. It's a scene we can almost witness ourselves. So our goal in this deep dive is really to dissect the layers of this 6-year-old mystery now, to examine the evidence, the theories, and all those unanswered questions surrounding Elizabeth Barraza's death.
It truly grips you, doesn't it? What's your immediate reaction hearing this, you listening? What details jump out at you right away? For me, it's still that Princess Leia costume, such a specific, almost like joyful detail against such a dark, dark act.
That juxtaposition is incredibly powerful. It immediately tells you something about Elizabeth, her passions, her spirit.
Yeah.
And to really understand the gravity of this crime, I think we need to know who this radiant woman actually was.
Absolutely. From all accounts, Elizabeth, or Liz, she was just a bright light in her community, warm, creative, the kind of person who made those around her feel good. You know the type.
Yeah, definitely. And the sources, they really highlight her strong connections with her family. Her parents, Bob and Rosemary Newell, and her older sister, Jennifer, they were clearly a very close-knit unit.
You get that real sense of love and support surrounding her. And she wasn't just a kind soul. She was sharp, too. Worked as a data reporter, which shows, an analytical mind.
Right.
But it seems like her real passion lay in bringing smiles to people's faces.
Yeah, that's where her deep involvement with the 501st Legion comes in. The Star Wars costuming group.
Oh, right.
Portraying Princess Leia wasn't just a hobby for her. It was a way she used her passion to do good. Visiting children's hospitals, doing charity events. Picture her, you, embodying that iconic character, bringing joy to kids. What does that tell you about her?
It paints such a clear picture of a selfless person, someone who genuinely found joy in giving back.
Exactly.
And this wasn't a solitary life. She shared it with her husband, Sergio. They actually got married on January 25th, 2014.
Wow, that anniversary date. It casts such a long, dark shadow over this tragedy, doesn't it?
It really does.
They had built a life together, full of shared dreams, including a special 5th anniversary trip they were planning to Universal Studios' Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Oh, that's right. And this very garage sale, the reason she was out there in her driveway that morning was to help fund that dream trip.
Yeah.
There's even this really poignant detail about her making custom Harry Potter-themed suitcases for it.
Oh, wow.
Can you picture her that morning, you listening? Full of excitement, anticipation, making those small, personal touches that just showed her enthusiasm.
It just adds such a heartbreaking layer to the whole story. It really underscores that this wasn't just a statistic, right? This was a real person with hopes, plans, a future she was actively creating. So let's turn to the chilling reality of that morning. January 25th, 2019.
Okay. Tomball, Texas. Suburban area just north of Houston. It's pre-dawn, maybe around 6:30 a.m. The neighborhood's quiet, the air is crisp, sky just starting to get light.
Into this peaceful scene steps Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Her husband, Sergio, he leaves for work around this time. They say goodbye.
Yeah.
A totally routine moment that, unknowingly becomes their last.
Yeah, that's awful to think about. Then just minutes later, 6:48 a.m., the Ring doorbell camera activates. And there she is, Liz, in her full Princess Leia costume. It's such a vivid image, the white gown, the iconic hair buns against the cold of a January morning, and this mundane task of setting up a garage sale. The contrast is just so stark, so unsettling.
It truly is. She starts setting up signs along Cedar Walk Drive where they lived. You can almost feel that early morning chill, imagining her moving around in her costume, getting ready for a day that would, never unfold as planned.
And then just 4 minutes later, 6:52 a.m., the silence is shattered.
A dark Nissan Frontier truck pulls up. The sources are specific, a 2013 to 2019 Pro 4X model, 4 doors.
Right.
Even the description of the engine sound like a low growl against the quiet, and it just builds this sense of dread.
Totally. And what's particularly disturbing is the figure that gets out of the truck.
Yeah, the description is intentionally vague, it seems. Cloaked, maybe wearing a long coat, maybe a muumuu. Some reports even mention a wig.
A wig. Wow. Okay. That immediately raises questions about the killer deliberately trying to hide their identity,
Is
right?
sure, total concealment.
Then there's this brief, almost jarringly normal exchange. Liz says good morning,
Hmm.
and a muffled reply comes from the figure. What could have been in that muffled response, you listening? Just a casual acknowledgement. Or something more sinister, designed to catch her off guard, maybe.
That mundane greeting, immediately followed by such brutal violence,
Yeah.
it's deeply unsettling. And then, boom, rapid succession, 4 gunshots ring out.
4 shots.
And the lack of shell casings at the scene strongly suggests a revolver was used, probably a break action or single action model.
Yeah.
What does that tell you with the killer's mindset?
It just screams premeditation, doesn't it? Choosing a weapon specifically because it doesn't leave casings behind easily.
Exactly.
Forethought.
And the details of the shooting are just brutal. 3 shots to her torso, and then that final calculated shot to her face. It's just, you have to pause there and really acknowledge the horrific nature of that act, execution style.
Liz collapses near the garage door. The whole sequence of events is just terrifyingly swift. Then the truck circles the cul-de-sac. The killer or killers, we don't know for sure, gets back in, and the vehicle just speeds away.
Tragically, while neighboring cameras, like a Nest device, captured the truck's escape, the license plate stayed blurred. Just another frustrating dead end in this whole investigation.
Unbelievable. Sergio, he gets alerted by a neighbor, right? Makes the frantic 911 call at 7 a.m., only 8 minutes after the shooting.
Yeah, can you just imagine that call? The sheer panic, the disbelief.
It's unimaginable. Police, paramedics, they arrive quickly. But despite everything they tried, Liz was pronounced dead right there at the scene.
A life just extinguished in moments on an ordinary suburban street.
So we circle back to those central haunting questions. Who was this person, and what drove them to commit such a horrific act? Based on what you've heard so far, you listening, what are your initial hunches? What details are sticking with you the most?
Well, the immediate aftermath saw a really swift and intense response from the Harris County Sheriff's Office. That Ring doorbell footage obviously became the primary focus of their initial investigation. Every single frame would have been picked apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And the absence of shell casings. That was immediately a huge clue, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. It strongly points to that revolver, like we said, where you have to manually remove the spent casings.
Right.
This suggests a level of forethought and, like the sources mentioned, maybe even experience with firearms, possibly from military or law enforcement backgrounds. Why do you think that specific choice of weapon is so significant?
Well, like you said, it shows planning. Someone who knows guns, someone who wants to avoid leaving easy evidence. It's not impulsive. It feels controlled, calculated.
Exactly. And the search for that dark Nissan Frontier Pro 4X, it was launched nationwide immediately. Over 200 tips came in, people reporting similar vehicles from all over.
Imagine the scale of that. Trying to track down one specific truck model across the whole country based on potentially grainy footage.
It's a huge task. Meanwhile, local law enforcement canvassed Cedar Walk Drive, going door to door, hoping for any witnesses, any other security footage. The FBI and Texas Rangers, they also joined the investigation. It really underscores how seriously this was taken.
And the killer's disguise, that was another crucial point for investigators, right?
Definitely. That flowing garment coat, muumuu, whatever it was, maybe a wig, the boots, it all points to a deliberate effort to hide any identifying features. This wasn't someone who wanted to be recognized at all.
No way. And then, in an effort to break the case, they announced that $50,000 Crime Stoppers reward back in 2019.
Yeah, those rewards can be powerful. Gives hope that someone somewhere knows something and will finally come forward.
The community seemed really shaken.
Oh, for sure. That significant reward, plus all the media coverage, it really showed the community's deep concern and their commitment to finding Elizabeth's killer. Then, in 2021, there's a bit of a breakthrough, wasn't there? With that neighbor's Nest camera footage.
Yes. That footage captured the same dark Nissan Frontier, actually pre-scouting the area in the days before the murder.
Okay, wow.
What does that pre-scouting tell you about the killer's intentions, you listening? It definitely moves away from any idea of this being a spur-of-the-moment thing, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The fact that the truck was seen days before, it suggests the killer wasn't just acting on a whim. It implies they were, like, familiarizing themselves with the area, maybe watching Elizabeth's routines, figuring out the best time and place for the attack.
Yeah.
That level of planning really points towards a targeted act, not just some random encounter.
Which naturally led the investigation to focus on potential suspects, right? Sergio, her husband, he faced intense scrutiny, polygraphs, everything, but he was ultimately cleared.
Right, and the investigation didn't stop there. Even Sergio's father was reportedly looked into, though the sources say no concrete link was ever established.
Interesting.
Even someone within Elizabeth's beloved 501st Legion community was investigated, apparently, and then exonerated. It just shows how wide they cast the net initially.
Trying to rule everything out.
Exactly. But unfortunately, the investigation has also hit its share of dead ends. False leads. Remember the man seen in a similar coat miles away?
Vaguely, yeah.
And that psychic's tip in 2023 that led to a search? But nothing came of it.
Ugh. That happens a lot in cold cases, doesn't it? Offers hope, then just leads to more frustration.
It does. But the pursuit of justice hasn't stopped. The sources are highlighting significant developments now, in 2025. Specifically, using next-generation DNA sequencing and facial recognition tech on the trace evidence collected from the scene.
Okay, this is big. Could this be the year? Could this finally bring a breakthrough for you, for the investigators, for Elizabeth's heartbroken family? These advancements in forensics offer some real hope, right?
They absolutely do. Using these cutting-edge technologies is a huge step forward. It shows a real commitment to solving this case, even after 6 years.
So let's maybe dig into some of the theories that have bubbled up over those years, trying to make sense of the why.
Okay. One of the earliest and most talked about was the idea of a hired hit. The calculated nature of the attack, the weighting, the efficiency, it does kind of lend itself to that idea. And yeah, that $200,000 life insurance policy on Sergio did initially raise eyebrows.
Even though he was cleared?
Even though it's cleared, yes.
Yeah.
It's just natural for investigators to look at financial motives, especially with his spouse. But his cooperation, the polygraphs, the lack of any actual evidence linking him, he was exonerated.
Okay. So what else? The 501st Legion angle.
That came up too.
Yeah.
Given how involved Elizabeth was, could there have been some kind of grudge? A dispute over a costume, an event, some internal spat that just tragically escalated?
Seems unlikely for such a, seemingly positive group, but you never know, I guess.
The sources note that even in close communities, tensions can exist. But crucially, there's been zero credible evidence to suggest any conflict like that led to Elizabeth's murder. It's really just speculation without facts.
So it remains just a theory.
Pretty much. Then you have the grim possibility of just a random attack. Maybe the killer was someone struggling with mental health issues. Or maybe they just saw an opportunity or perceived some kind of slight when Elizabeth was setting up her garage sale.
The terrible irony of that. An event meant for joy, for funding a dream trip, becoming the catalyst for such violence. It's deeply disturbing.
It really is a chilling thought, that just trying to earn a little extra money could put her in the path of someone so dangerous.
And the precision, the tactical feel of the shooting that led some to wonder about a serial offender, right?
Yeah, that possibility has been floated. The level of control the killer showed, the weapon choice to avoid casings, that final execution-style shot, it does suggest planning and intent you don't always see in random violence.
Obsessed.
But, as the sources point out, there haven't been any other cases definitively linked to this person or this specific method. So, again, it's a possibility, but unproven.
That brief good morning exchange keeps coming back to me. It's so haunting.
Me too.
Did Liz know her killer? Was it someone familiar enough that a casual greeting wouldn't seem weird? Or was it just a tactic to seem non-threatening before the attack? What do you make of that seemingly innocuous greeting, you listening? It feels like it could hold such a crucial, subtle clue.
It's a detail. Investigators must have gone over countless times. It could indicate familiarity, sure, but it could also just be a calculated move to disarm her, create that brief window. We just don't know.
And the lack of DNA matches, no fingerprints, that untraced vehicle, it's still such a huge wall. What part of this lack of concrete evidence strikes you as most significant, you listening? For me, it's still that truck. A dark Nissan Frontier Pro 4X shouldn't just vanish.
It's incredibly frustrating. You'd think a vehicle like that would have been spotted somewhere else, caught on another camera, something, anything.
The impact on the tomball community must have been huge.
Oh, absolutely profound. That sense of safety just shattered. Neighbors got more vigilant, installed security systems. There was this real loss of trust in what felt like a safe, quiet, suburban place.
And you have to think about Elizabeth's family. Her parents, Bob and Rosemary Noel. Their strength through all this is just Remarkable, isn't it?
Truly inspiring. Their website, whokilledlizbarraza.com, it's a constant reminder of their loss, but also their absolute determination to get justice for Liz.
Yeah.
Her sister, Jennifer, too. She plays such a vital role in keeping Elizabeth's memory alive, sharing stories, making sure her spirit isn't forgotten in all the case details.
And the community support has stayed strong too, right? People still donating to increase the Crime Stoppers reward.
Yes, it shows this collective desire for answers hasn't faded. And the upcoming memorial bench unveiling January 30th, 2025 at Burroughs Park, that's going to be a really significant moment for remembrance.
What's the inscription going to be?
Her name, a Star Wars emblem, naturally, and a plea for justice. It speaks volumes about how she's remembered. It'll be a place people can go, reflect, maybe even find the courage to share information.
That's nice. And the 501st Legion doing annual charity drives in her honor.
Yeah, a really beautiful and fitting way to keep her spirit of giving alive.
This case definitely had a broader impact too, didn't it? Raising awareness about home security, ring cameras, women's safety, even in their own neighborhoods. Has this case made you think differently about your own home security, you listening? It certainly makes you more aware, I think.
It does. It really forces you to confront the reality that even in places that feel safe, tragedy can strike unexpectedly.
Okay, so let's get back to the recent developments. It's April 15th, 2025 now. The 6-year anniversary just passed, but there seems to be this renewed focus, real activity in the investigation. Feels like a crucial time.
Yeah, it really does. The Harris County Sheriff's Office is making that significant push with the next-gen DNA sequencing on the trace evidence. The hope is finally developing a usable genetic profile of the killer.
That feels like a potential game changer, doesn't it? What are your thoughts on this renewed forensic effort?
It's huge. Forensic tech has come so far, even in just the last few years. Being able to get more info from tiny traces of DNA, it offers a real possibility of a breakthrough in a case that's been stuck for so long.
And what about that jogger statement, seeing a similar truck nearby weeks before?
Yeah, there's renewed scrutiny on that.
Yeah.
Could that seemingly small detail be the key piece you've been waiting for, you listening? It just highlights how important even tiny observations can be.
Absolutely. So often in these cases, it is a seemingly minor detail that unlocks the whole thing.
And the upcoming memorial, while obviously a somber event, might also generate new leads. Sometimes public events like that can jog someone's memory or maybe prompt them to finally share something they've held on to.
Let's hope so.
And they extended the Crime Stoppers reward deadline again, right? To June 2025.
Yeah, another incentive for anyone with information to please step forward. That reward money can be a powerful motivator.
Definitely. Meanwhile, the forensic artist is still working on recreating the killer's possible appearance from that limited ring footage. Slow work, given how unclear it is.
Right.
But it's another angle they're still pursuing.
Still trying every avenue.
But despite all these efforts, all the renewed hope from the science, the stark, frustrating reality remains. Still no arrests.
6 long years, and the murder of Elizabeth Barraza is still an unsolved tragedy. An ordinary morning, a garage sale for a dream trip, turned into an absolute nightmare.
The advancements in forensics in 2025 offer that renewed glimmer of hope, though. A real chance we might finally be on the verge of identifying the person responsible for this senseless, brutal act. But that need for justice, for closure for Elizabeth's family, it's as urgent today as it was 6 years ago.
Her story captured so tragically, partly on that doorbell camera. It's this constant visual reminder of the vibrant life that was stolen, and it demands that we, the community, law enforcement, never give up the search for answers.
So this is our direct, impassioned call to action to you, our listener. If anything from this deep dive has sparked a memory, a connection, maybe something that seems insignificant to you, please reach out. Your information, however small it feels, could be the vital piece that finally breaks this case wide open.
Contact Crime Stoppers at 713-222-8477 or call the Harris County Sheriff's Office directly at 713-274-9100. Your tip could be the missing link. Please, if you know something, say something.
Thank you for joining us for this in-depth exploration into the enduring mystery surrounding the murder of Elizabeth Barraza.
And as you continue with your day, maybe just consider this. After everything you've learned in this deep dive, who do you think was lurking in that dark Nissan Frontier, and what dark secrets did they drive away with on that cold January morning? That question, like the pursuit of justice for Elizabeth, continues to linger.